we're still here in South Africa. At this exact moment, we are probably like a few hundred meters away from Kruger Gate at a hotel that we're staying at, which we love. And our time in South Africa as a whole, most of it was spent in Cape Town, which we also loved. We were there for 2.5 months. We did some amazing things on the weekend, but weekdays were pretty chill and filled with really delicious coffee and beautiful sights and leisurely strolls along the V&A waterfront. And about 3 weeks into our trip, we contacted our friends Katlyn and Jorge, which you may remember from Chile and Mexico, and told them how much we love Cape Town. And 5 days later, they got on a very long flight from Chile and joined us in South Africa. So they've been with us for about 2 months now. And they've joined us here in Kruger, and we're just having kind of like the best time of our life, would you say?
Pretty awesome. Yeah. South Africa has been fantastic. We've definitely loved it here.
And I never would have guessed that I would have loved a place. It's quite remote. It's not like Europe where you can just hop on a flight to anywhere and be there relatively quickly. You're kind of at the end of the world. But between the nature and the weather and the cultures. When we were in Cape Town for our anniversary, we did go for kind of like a fancy multiple course meal, and we got to eat like different things on porcupine quills, and we had some guinea fowl, and we had some springbok. So we did get to try a few of like the more local game meats, and they were delicious. It was a really good meal.
I mean, it's just an amazing place. I mean, not just Kruger, like all of South Africa. All of this has been so nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to coming back because I'm certain that we are.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
Certain. It has to be. Even if, whether it's next year or in 20, we're coming back.
Typically, we do need to have a good Wi-Fi connection if we're looking to stay somewhere for more than a few days. Like the reality of things. I was not sure if we would be able to spend a significant amount of time in Africa, in the continent of Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa. Just because I wasn't sure how reliable the internet would be. I've heard a lot of mixed things, but South Africa's been fantastic for that. So while we're here in Kruger, we actually spent the first week or so in Marloth Park, which is a community just south of Kruger. It borders Kruger, so we still had a lot of the wildlife coming into our backyard. You've probably seen that video. If you didn't, then you definitely should. And that was just like such an ideal place. The Wi-Fi was strong enough that we could work, and it was kind of magical to just be sitting out on that terrace with your laptop and looking up, and you see a warthog, or you see a kudu, or you see, I mean...
I saved a warthog.
He saved a warthog. He's very proud of it.
Paul, stop filming and Paul.
Alarm.
Stop filming, Paul.
I'm calling him.
No,
Yeah, mine.
Oh, yeah! Oh my god!
Saved a warthog. Dude.
Very proud of it. Yeah. We told everyone. We've been in Kruger for about 10 days, something like that. 10 days, and we've done
You counting safaris? What are you up to?
5. We've done 5 safaris.
That's about right.
And I think that we've seen a lot. Like, I think we got really lucky. Particularly the beginning of the week. When we first arrived, it was so rainy. So we flew into Joburg in Johannesburg, and we rented a car, and we drove probably about 6 hours out to Kruger. And part of it was in the dark, and it was raining and foggy and cold, like really cold. We had like our coats on, and I think we were pretty nervous about that. We were like, did this just ruin this part of the trip? Because who wants to be driving around in an open vehicle when it's freezing and wet outside? It's really just a little...
Saudi wasn't freezing. It was really
Very
cold. Nowhere near freezing.
But I will say that those first days that were kind of on the cooler side and a little on the rainier side, we saw so many animals. And on that note, I think the one elusive animal that we haven't seen yet is the leopard, which is a really difficult animal to see in any circumstance. But we're doing one last game drive tomorrow, and that is going to be completely dedicated to trying to seek out a leopard. We told our guide up front, we've already been with him earlier in the week, and he's like planning out a route for us. He's calling it a leopard blitz, and we're out for one thing and one thing only. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
We're all really hopeful, but it is luck of the draw. Sometimes we see incredible things. Some nights we're surrounded by lions and with a broken down car and 50 elephants pass in front of us, and we see like a swarm of hyenas or a swarm of wild dogs. And other days, like we went on a full day safari, which is like a 9-hour safari. We saw not much. Yeah, we saw giraffes and we saw elephants and things like that, but it was a pretty chill day. It's still awesome. Any day out in the park is awesome, but some days are magic and other days are just great.
It's the importance of having a good guide cannot be understated.
Yeah. Cannot be overstated.
Overstated? Understated? Whichever one means that it's important.
Mm-hmm.
There is not necessarily a correlation between the quality of the guide and what you see, but there certainly is one between the quality of the guide and your overall enjoyment of the experience.
Yeah.
Right? So you can have an amazing guide and see no animals at all, but you will have a great time. Whereas on the flip side of it, you can have a terrible guide, see a bunch of animals, which obviously will have an amazing time, but if you have a terrible guide and then see no animals, then you'll have a worse time. So I think the best way to ensure that you have a good time is to have a great guide, and then if you get to see animals, that's kind of like bonus.
The bonus.
And I think the reality is that it is about luck, right? You need to just get lucky. You know, we're talking to people that work in this hotel, which is on the border of the park. We come in here every single day,
yeah.
and you can see wildlife in the hotel as well as surrounding the hotel. And we're talking to some of the employees here, and some of them have never seen lions.
Yeah.
You know, and then we told them about the leopard, and they're like, "Oh, we see leopards all the time." We're like, "Well, we just saw a bunch of lions and we haven't seen leopards, and we've been searching."
Yeah. So they were jealous of us and we were jealous of them.
It's the luck of the draw. All that to say is, if you plan on coming down here, which you must do safari in your lifetime, I insist on it. And if you can afford it, you have to do it.
And Kruger is one of the more affordable options that you can do because you can self-drive. You can rent a car, you can stay in. They have really, really good camping accommodations here where you can rent like a little cabin, or you can actually sleep in a tent, in your own tent. So like, it is possible to do this affordably here. Other countries, not so much. We honeymooned in Tanzania and we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and we also went on safari. So it's also been kind of cool to compare and contrast. We were surprised at how affordable we were able to keep this trip to Kruger because we just remembered how expensive Tanzania had been. In Tanzania, you could not self-drive. You had to go with a guide and you had to have a closed vehicle. They didn't allow these like open sides.
Yeah. Whoa.
There's a monkey outside. Oh my god, you scared me.
It's a big one. Yeah, there's wildlife in the hotel. There's nothing like safari. It is absolutely like the best experience you will ever have in your life, and there is nothing better than going out there. And it's like you have this. It's like I've never hunted. I don't want to hunt, but I imagine it's like hunting without hurting anybody, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you have this thrill of seeking out animals. You don't know what you're going to find, but you also are essentially being driven around. Katlyn actually referred to it as a moving terrace, right? And it's so appropriate because you just kind of hang out on a beautiful day with these amazing views, and even if you don't see anything, it's still amazing. But when you do see something, it's just like mind-blowing. You're just like, wow, this is as good as it gets. So I'll say it one more time. If you can afford to do this, do this. It is that good.
So we're finishing up our time here in Kruger. We're almost done. We're almost about to leave South Africa, which is a little bit sad. But Our next adventure is going to be taking a somewhat short, I think it's like a 3-hour flight to Uganda, where we're going to be trekking to go see the gorillas and the chimpanzees, do a little bit more safari, and that is definitely a bucket list item for us.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch us next time as we explore deeper into Kruger Park.